us this day our debtors, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Putting the two together. So, Luke talks about his trespass, Mark talks about his debtors. But what's the real commandment here? We have, and sometimes in our sayings is, I may forgive you, but I won't forget. Mm-hmm. Is that how Christ sees us?
No.
And why is it that I've got to first forgive before I can be forgiven? It was a catch. I forgive my debtors as I be, then I'm forgiven. What happens if I don't forgive somebody else?
Don't grow.
Don't grow.
Hurts you. It hurts you.
When I'm holding on to something, whatever that something may be, that I feel that I've been wronged by or in, many times the person that we feel that has wronged us has gone on their merry little lives, doing whatever they do, haven't given us, the situation or whatever, another thought. But we're stuck right there in that place. So we're not growing. We're stagnated. We're at a place that we've put ourselves in a prison. And it's a prison built of walls of pain, many times, of anger, most times, of just downright pissed off, frustration. And how do we free ourselves from that? Because has anybody else been mad with somebody for days, weeks, months, years about something? And every time you think about it, or that comes back to mind again, do those same things, those same feelings bubble back up? And what is that doing to you? And medical science has come to the point now that they can say some of that stuff can really physically kill you. Mm-hmm. Stress, ulcers, heart attacks, panic attacks, all that stuff builds up and it's got to come out in some way. It's got to have some kind of release. The old kettle is on the stove that's boiling. Steam's got to come out somehow. And if you don't figure out how to release that steam, the pressure cooker explodes. So this is that piece about letting that go where you're not becoming that pressure cooker that's going to explode. When we have, talking about forgiveness and whoever owes us something, whoever owes us things, there's a couple different scriptures and places that it really kind of expounds on it even more. Who has heard about or understand the Jubilee year? Heard of the Jubilee year? The Jubilee year in Judaic practices, there's something that's called Jubilee, and it's the 50th year. It's seven Sabbaths. So 7 years, 7 times 7. So the 49th year is the end of whatever ownership or whatever debts. In that 50th year, slaves are freed, debt lands returned, loans are forgiven, whatever. It's a total forgiveness year that you live in all year. Whatever has been out there and held up against you gets come back. If you were in servitude because you owed somebody, you had to sell your savings to pay off the debt, in the Jubilee year, whatever's left is forgiven. It's done and you're living the totally debt-free life. And whether or not you get yourself back in that debt, that's another question. But for that year, everything's forgiven. Now, have any of us had paid credit cards and we paid off and then go and live debt-free after a while, kind of find ourselves sneaking back in, pulling it out every now and then? Like I said, if you get yourself back in, that's a whole different thing. But the Jubilee year was that year of forgiveness where all debts, all crosses were canceled. Even when it says about how many times should I forgive my brother, someone says 7 times 7, one says 70 times 7. It's because it's a continual process. Now, when somebody's really hurt you, or you feel rather misused, beat upon, degraded, whatever by somebody, is it really easy to say, oh yes, I forgive you? It's all right, it's okay. No problem. So how does this forgiveness thing even work? How do you go about forgiving? It's a process. And what are some of the steps you might take in that process?
For me, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, I have to realize that yes, I'm mad at this person. I mean, I'm really mad for whatever reason. And I ask myself sometimes, did I play a part in that, in the whole situation where I felt like I was mistreated?
Mm-hmm.
And then, really, I have to get over feeling like I played that part for me.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, okay, well, I can see where I was wrong. I can see where I might have caused some of the discord.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can let you, whatever I feel against you, I can start working on that thing.
Okay.
So for me, it's a process. It's been a process for all my life.
Mm-hmm. And for most of us, it's going to be a process for all our lives.
Time.
Time. Okay. Others' comments, how do you get over something or forgive somebody for something? Soul search yourself. Okay.
Well, you realize that you're hurting yourself when, like you said, they're going about their business, and you're stuck in it, and it's hurting you, it's not hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to heal yourself, you have to forgive.
You have to forgive to be able to heal yourself.
I pray, and pray for that other person.
One of the first keys or first steps in trying to let go of those things and forgive is you first got to be willing to forgive. Sometimes I just don't want to forgive somebody for something. But some things I just don't want to. So that's the first, I got to want to forgive the person.
They don't deserve it.
Yeah, they don't deserve it. They don't want to. So I've got to get past me being Lord and rule and judge and whatever of those. I've got to want to have the willingness to forgive. And then if I at least can say, okay, God, I'm willing to do this. I just don't know how. I'm casting this care upon the Christ in me. I'm casting this on you. I've been holding this anger, and I'm willing now to I'm willing to let it go. Take it. Help me. We've got to release it. When we're angry, we're doing this. We're holding on. We're the fist to hit them, or holding on to whatever reason we're going to hit them. And so we've got to be able to say, okay, I'm willing to pry the fist apart and let it go. Start letting it go. And that's a big step. Because sometimes we don't even recognize that we are wanting to stay angry. We're just angry and we don't realize I'm keeping myself angry. Or I'm keeping myself upset. So the recognition that I'm holding on to this and keeping myself there is that first step in the process. And then being willing to let it go once I recognize that I'm clinging onto it. We've all had, or at least I assume, we all have had some situation in our lives, some person, some place, something that it was just hard to let go of. And even the spirits, they're trying to move that out of our lives. We clinging on, we running behind, we grabbing, we holding on to it. And so that recognition that I've got to let go. And I don't, Mother's Day, us cutting those apron strings sometimes, it's a little hard to do. And sometimes we hold on too tight, thinking not out of, and that holding on is not in any way out of anything malicious or anything harmful, hurtful. We love our children. And we want them to have the best. We want to do the best. We want to protect them. We want to guide them. We want to make sure that they're okay. And so we have a hard time of knowing when to start letting them go and letting them make those decisions for themselves, letting their Christ nature, trusting that they have the Christ within them and they have the wisdom within them to make decisions and be able to stand on their own 2 feet. We always right there to catch them if they fall. But is that necessarily always our job? If we truly believe Christ is within each and every one of us, Christ gave us that child, we've birthed and we've done our raising of the child, we've taught them, Christ lives in them as well. And they've got to learn to commune within their own self and to go in within themselves for answers sometimes. It's hard as a mom to stand back and watch your child go through stuff. We talked about mother's love today. That's a hard thing to be able to stand back and hands off and let the child go through their process, their journey. And so that sometimes the holding on is not even out of anger, but we are still, that's still a debt we're creating because we have not given them the freedom, the trust, the confidence that they can. We're still in doubt. We're still seeing separation. Yeah, literally, when I got adopted the kids, and I went in Drew County to bail yourself out as a property owner, $500 and title to your property would bail you out of whatever in jail. I opened up an account when I got my children, put $500 in, that was my bail money. Literally. And told my partner at the time, anybody, including you, mess with my children, I'm going to jail. Because you're going to be dead. No ifs, ands, buts, babies, whatsoever about it. Had a couple people's name on that account that they could come get the money out and come bail me out. I was steadfast, totally in that. Even when I came back talking, I had not actually resolved that, closed that account out. I forgot about it after a while. Forgot about it after a while, but I hadn't closed that account out. And there was a situation here with my dad that I called up my ex and said, remember that account I set up for my bail money? Get in your car and go to the range to the bank and get it because I'm finna go take care of somebody that's messing with my daddy. And she was like, where are you? I said, I was about to pull in the Sam's. Go in Sam's, shop all you want, shop for the hour. Do not, they talk me off, they literally had to talk me off that wall. But so when the debts are not that it's something that's always just been done harmfully or wrong to us. It's something where we see separation from God. So even in our children, when we're seeing that God's not within them, that we have to protect them as mamas, that's creating some of that debt. That's creating some of that separation energies. And that's what we're asking for forgiveness for, is forgiving. Because even if Deborah and I have an issue today, there's two individuals here and we have an issue. If I'm angry with Deborah, it's because I see that Deborah is separate from me. I don't see our oneness. I don't see our connection. Because if I saw Deborah and I as one, it was just me doing whatever. But because when I can start seeing that she's done something wrong to me, because I see her is out there. I'm in here and she's out there. And so that debt, that sin is where we're seeing that separation and not seeing the unity, the unifying force among us. All is one. So the forgiveness is forgiving for being seeing this person as something separate from me and you and God. not seeing us as one. Because if I see me, I mean, and I've done things to Linda that have hurt. I've stubbed Linda's toe. I've slammed the door, had Linda's hand in the door. I've done stuff to Linda that's hurt, but wasn't mad at Linda. I was just crying. My hand hurt from me slamming in the door. But if somebody else had slammed my hand in the door, that's a different story. Because I see that as being something separate from me. So we're getting back to that forgiveness is being able to see us as that united one wholeness. And then that's that forgiveness. So that's the reason sometimes it says 70 times 7. It's because sometimes in some situations we have to practice that on a not day by day, moment by moment thing of saying, okay, this person and I are both one. This person and I are children of God. This person and I are of the same nature, same source. Our political field and whoever's running, whoever's in us, we're one.
That's a hard pill to swallow.
70 times 7, I gotta say that one.
Oh no, come on with it.
Like I said, sometimes it's not a day by day, it's a moment by moment.
It is.
Tweet by tweet.
You with those seniors every day? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Our seniors, whoever it is, the person in the car is driving like an idiot next to us. We have to see it. And so those debts that we're creating are what we're marking up. You remember when you used to do, Jackson, you do the 4 scores and the 1 cross spots for the 5? We keep tallying on how this person's, or this situation is different from us. And we keep a score on it. But those same scores that we're keeping on that person, we don't recognize because we are indeed one. We're putting those scores on ourselves.
You know it hurt.
You know it hurts. So why are we saying, we name it off all the reasons this person's on. We can outline you exactly why this person is, whatever name we just called them. We can tell why. But those are all, if we're saying that, if we truly see that in that individual, and that individual's me, so am I saying that was about me?
But it begins with you, and none of that can come out of you unless it's already in you. So all that you come out with someone else is because
We are indeed one.
And this is it. I think that there is a process, very much like the butterfly. You know, if you try to help that butterfly get out there, it will never fly. So if you just deal with self, everything else I don't have to deal with you or anybody else. If I deal with self, I will attract in its own time what needs to be tracked.
Yes.
Because I don't know what you're thinking, but just make sure that you, and I found that at this mature age, it's not so much about dealing with self for me, because I feel I'm on that level of, that I can handle that. But you find yourself, you know, dealing with seeing, hey, this shadow with my child, why is someone doing this? Why is this doing that? But you have to still go back to let go and let God, and to know that vengeance is God's, because what are we going to do? So if you just sort of simply, and I start by not even listening to certain kinds of things that people attempt to say. Find myself not reading or looking at certain things on TV, because all of that becomes a part of you. I don't go to sleep anymore with the TV on, because your head is just like
You're still listening.
you wake up in the mornings, and I used to wonder when I was with my husband, why am I waking up with a headache? And then I realized it's because we'd had a Western that was shooting all night, and that was a part of my brain. So that's it. I found that if I deal with you, I don't have to deal with the children. I don't have to deal with my friend. I have to deal with anybody. Just deal with, safeguard me, because what comes out of me is what someone else will see, and I will be that thing.
That's a very good point. We've all heard the concept of that. The people that we surround ourselves are mirrors to us. They're mirroring to us when we may not necessarily be able to see as much in ourselves. And as I always say, it take one to know one. So if I see you as being whatever, it means I got some of that in me to be able to recognize that in you. So yes, if I can heal that, if I can forgive that in me, then I am forgiving that and healing that abroad. Because again, we are one. So if I'm doing that to you, if I'm seeing that in you, that's in me. And if I can work on forgiving it for me, then I can heal it for both me and you. Because if you and I both, whatever adjective we want to put in there, I got some of that in me, you got some of that in you. So if I'm working on changing that atmosphere, as I change it with me, that spreads out. That's that ripple effect in the water. So the forgiveness of our debts and forgiving our debtors is about that coming together, seeing us as one, and figuring out how to manage, handle, deal with those things within ourselves and others, since we are indeed one, and not holding it as some separate issue. That's you, that ain't me. And even in our thoughts about our Christ mind and being Christians, Christ-like, we often say, that was Jesus, that wasn't me. I ain't Jesus, I can't do that. He said, these works and greater shall you do. So if we have the same in mind, we do. But we even say that, we see ourselves separate from that Christ. We've got to bring that. So the sin in that, and the reason we're asking for, is seeing separateness, and it's not seeing our connection, our oneness. And that's where we've got to come in here. Because I built up walls around my heart, my whatever, my finances, my whatever, to protect Linda. But if Linda's one with everybody in here, what am I protecting Linda from? If indeed I truly believe and think that I am one with you, then what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine. We are all in here together and sharing. So you're not you can't take something from me. You can't hurt me by some of those things. But that gets, as you're saying, some maturity parts of and growing part. That's part of our growth process, is to get there and see that. So being willing, first and foremost, to say that I will let this go. Being willing to take a different look at it. Seeing our part in it, because it takes two to tango and whatever. So what piece in that, how did me and me create this situation? And blessing both of me and our parts in the creation of this. And loving that. Now we're commanded to love one another, but are we commanded to like everybody? Be best buddies with everybody? There's some people we can love from afar. There's people we love close up. I have to love you as my Christian, as my brother in Christ, my sister in Christ. That doesn't mean we have to share the same breath and space. We can be, but we still have to see our connection. Even if, my best friend's in a little community outside of Birmingham, Alabama. I've actually seen her. We haven't seen each other face to face in 3 years. We've talked about we got to make changes and get this together, but even though we're apart, she's still my best friend. She's still, when something comes up and I need to vent, that's the number I don't speak dial, I hit. But that's what caused us not to see each other in a while. It's been another situation that we both had, there was a time, we've had a couple times in our lives that one time before, and we really didn't even speak to each other for about 4 years. Both of these times we've had separations have been about mates, situations that have kind of come in and conflicted with our relationship. But that's one of those things that we didn't forgive and love. We've known each other. She's been in my life since before Erica. Erica was 27, so she's been in my life for 27 years. She's been my best friend since that length of time. And so we may have times we don't speak to each other. Even classmates. Some people, when I came back home for our 10-year class reunion, the guy we were best friends with in high school, hadn't seen each other since, once past graduation until the class reunion. And it had always been like over summer break. It was like the first day back, it was like we don't spend couple weeks back, we were right back on track. 10 years had passed. That class reunion, we were right back on track. We caught up a few sentences about what happened in 10 years, relationship was right back where it was.
But you know, we do things in lives when we ourselves in the positive kinds of things because things are just natural. And as I sat here, I remember talking to Miss Pearl, and the first thing she called me this morning at 10, she said, "Well, you need to be late." And I didn't realize that it was so important for her to be on time. But then I thought about the thing that she said, what you told me, I really never been to church, I haven't been able to take, but a couple of weeks ago, she said to me, you know, the first time I've ever really taken a picture, and when you took that picture, you were not aware that she was so delighted about that picture. So just simply being there for the picture, and I sat here the other day when Glory was not here, in terms of how everybody was so concerned, and here she said, "Where she let me?" I was about to call Glory. She said, "No, I want to call, and you got the number."
And
And
it
it
was
was
the phone.
and I meant that's it, and then seeing her coming in this morning and everybody, and from time to time, I did not realize I remember so much that Jerry has played in my life. The other day when Glory was not here, I went out to the peace pole, and I could relate because I remember when Lottie put the peace pole, Jerry was here. So, you know, there are a lot of things, and I remember he walked out when he was young. You were younger playing the piano then, Longsboro. So what I'm saying is that these are the kinds of things, so we're doing things that we're really not aware. Just being yourself and being that Bible, that positive.
You're the book to be read.
You're the book.
You're the book to be read. And so as we're doing that and connecting with each other, it is an ongoing process. But each time we're saying the Lord's Prayer, we're saying we're forgiving those debts as we are being forgiven for our debtors. And one of those things is after we say, if there is a situation where we really need to actually release the anger and those things, being willing to release it, and then in the prayer, say, this person, name by name, whatever, and I've held this person at fault for these things. I'm letting that go. And every time that situation comes back up, you've just got to repeat it. That's 70 times 7. And each time, as you find it, as you move through time and those things, it does become easier, and you do chip off the pieces of that hurt, that anger, that whatever, and it goes.
And Deacon
But you
Garrett,
have
Miss
to-
Garrett would be surprised that you're doing all of this.
Yeah.
And I would too.
But that's a part of our life process as we grow and we truly see ourselves as one in Christ and in love.